All right. And again, guys, please, if you don't know, I need you to speak up right away. Don't be shy. All right. Please speak up. You get her? Okay. Do you want to borrow mine? Can you get into yours from mine? All right. Just give it your best shot. If not, you can just look up on the board now. All right. Okay. So here we go with question number 2. All right. Somebody tell me what's common.
5x.
Nope. What is it?
5x.
5x. Thank you. 5x. So everybody's pulling out a 5x. When you pull a 5x, what's left behind? X squared minus 9. And then? Wow. Feels good, doesn't it? X plus 3, X minus 3. Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Yes, sir. Good for you.
Sir, if you just on the top one, would you right or you have to?
Say it again.
If you just put like 5x.
You're in trouble. That's half credit because you just did half the work. All right? You did half the work. All right. Now, like I said, I told you on Wednesday you're going to have to make some decisions. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So be careful. Factor completely. First thing, GCF. Then you look to see if you can factor again. That's how you should be doing every single problem. All right. So let's look at number 4 now. GCF is what? 5. Everybody good? All right. So let's pull out a 5. What's left behind?
X squared minus 7x plus 12.
Everybody good with that? Any questions? Carly? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, but I put 5x in front of.
Now, the reason why, listen to me. Come on, now look. The reason why there's no x is because there's no x there. You with me? Look at the difference in number 2. There was an x in both spots.
Okay.
Right? Now, we can factor x squared minus 7x plus 12. What do we got?
X minus 4.
Thank you. Very good. Very, very good. Speak up when you don't know something. Will, you still good?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, what?
Why would 4 and 3 just both be positive?
Because we want a middle term that is what? Negative. Right? So now look, smiley face. -4, -3 makes -7. All right? All right. 4 times 3 is 12, right?
Yeah.
You're multiplying.
Okay.
Agreed?
Mhm.
All right, so here we go. What's common with number 6?
Y squared.
There's a common y squared. All right, so pull out the y squared. And you're left with?
X squared minus 7x plus 12.
Beautiful. Now, what does that factor to? What? X minus 5 and x minus 5. Exactly. Now, of course, those of you guys have been paying attention, and I told you you want to be a little bit better than everybody else, you would write it as x minus 5 squared.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, that's how you would write that, x minus 5 squared. Okay?
If we forgot to write like the
No, I already told you that. It's not wrong. If you write the right answer, it's not wrong. I just want you to pay attention. All right? Here we go. Now, how many terms are there here? 4. So we're probably going to have to factor by what?
grouping.
Grouping. So here we go. Parentheses, parentheses. What's common?
X.
X. Thank you. What's left behind?
X minus 3.
What's common?
Y.
What type of y?
Positive.
Positive y. Make sure you put the plus y down. And then
X minus 3.
x minus 3. Beautiful. So now what?
X minus 3 and X plus Y.
Yay, guys. That's good. X minus 3, X plus Y. Okay. Now, do you remember what I told you when the leading coefficient is negative? You have to factor out the negative and switch the signs. So what's common here, guys?
2.
A 2 what?
2x.
What type of 2, though, I want you to say?
Negative 2.
Negative, right? So we're going to go negative 2x. Then that factors to x, 5.
X squared.
Now, I'm trying to teach you something here on this one. Can I factor that? No, I cannot factor. So is that the final answer? Yeah, that's the final answer because we cannot factor this. They're not perfect squares. 5 is not a perfect square and 2 is not a perfect square. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. You have to do a little bit of thinking here each time. All right, does anybody have any doubts about 10, the highlighted there not factoring? What? Come on.
Why would they be squares?
What are perfect squares? 1, 4, 9, 16. Those are the perfect squares.
Is 5.
5 is not. What number times itself is 5? 1 times 1 is 5. What? No, I know. I understand what you're saying. That's what I'm trying to get you to figure out. Is 9 a perfect square? Yes, because 3 times 3 is 25. Yes, because 5 times 5.
Oh.
Right? Is 49? Yes. 7 times 7. Is 50? No. You with me now, right? Okay, that's what we meant by perfect squares. All right, number 12. What's common here?
C.
There's a common C. All right, so here we go. C, 2x squared minus 7x plus 3.
It can't be.
We can factor that for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And C and X.
2 sets of parentheses. So 2x and x. Now, where does the 3 go? To the right. That is exactly correct. And 1 goes on the left. Now remember your smiley face to make sure you can see that. That creates a 6 and a 1. So in order to get -7, they both have to be what? They both have to be negative. Does everybody agree with that? Everybody good?
I forgot about 2X.
Okay. Here we go. Now I'm looking at the next one. What's common, please?
5Y.
5y. Good job. So what's left behind?
3 squared plus 7.
Plus what?
2.
2. Beautiful. All right, here we go, guys. It seems like you're doing pretty good. 5y, 2 sets of parentheses, 3x and x. Where does the 2 go? On the right, correct? And 1 over here. How much do we have? 6 and 1, right? Makes 7 if they're both positive. Now, Connor Hanlon, I haven't talked much to you, buddy. Right? I don't want you to be upset now. So if you got to tell me now, I can't help you if you're going to let me get to 30 and then you say, well, I don't know what I'm doing. You know what you're doing. So far, so good. Everything's good? Double checked? Julian, you're good? As everybody understand, I expect you to get 100 on the test. Does everybody understand that, right? Because you can just check your work. Every time I do these problems, I'm checking my work. Everybody understand that? You can check your work and see if you're correct. All right? Now, sometimes the factoring a little bit harder, but if you take your time, be patient, go through all possibilities, you get the answer. All right? Here we go. Now, is there anything common with 16?
No.
No, so now you're making a decision. There was no GCF. So now you're just factoring. All right, here we go. The only way I can make 2x squared is with
2X and X.
2x and x. Now, what about 5? Where does that go? 5 goes to the right. And the reason why we're getting more comfortable is because your mind is now grouping those two together. All right, and we want positive 11, so they both have to be positive. They both have to be positive. All right. How many terms for number 18? 4. So we have to group them. What's common?
X squared.
X squared. And so? What's common? A positive 2, right? And so now? Exactly correct. Exactly correct. That's it. Now, that's a good question. Very good. Listen to me. Sometimes that will factor, but this time it does not. Because there's no minus. Right? It has to be the difference of squares. If that was x squared minus 4, you would be correct. Okay? All right, that's what I'm saying. It's tricky because you got to Ask yourself every time, can I factor again? All right, let's take a look now at 20. All right, guys, what's common? 3x. Here we go. And then?
12x squared. Minus 8.
Yeah, now most kids forget the what?
1.
The 1. Most kids forget the 1. All right, now I can tell how good you are right now just by you explaining to me. Am I going to do 3 and 4 or 6 and 2 or 12 and 1? You're going to use 6 and 2, right? Because we want what? 8. And the only way to make 1 is with 1 and 1. All right, now normally I say start with 3 and 4. But you should be able to mentally now, as you've progressed, you're starting to see the patterns of how numbers relate to each other. All right, so here we go. That was good. So I have 6x and 2x, 1 and 1, and I need a negative 8. So how do I do that? They're both negative. All right, now I was trying to tell Connor, look, I don't want to help you when we're at 30. I want to help you now. Carly, you good? All right, here we go. Continue on. What's common?
2x.
I think
4x.
be careful. If you do a 2x, it's just going to make it harder. Okay, so make sure you get that initial part right. So thank you. 4x. What am I left with?
2a squared plus 7a plus 1.
All right, here we go. Now, where does the 5 go? On the right or the left?
On
On the left, right? 5a. They're both positive. Good job. All right, 24. Make sure you put a star by it and remind yourself the leading coefficient is negative, so we have to factor out a negative. When you factor out a negative, you have to change the signs. Be careful on 24. Is everybody listening to me? You're factoring out a negative. Now, what else? Negative what? I believe it's negative 2x, right? So everybody's factoring out a negative 2x. All right, I'm left with what?
7x squared minus.
Good job. There you go. There it is. All right, so we have some options now. All right, so here we go. Negative 2x, but the only option for 7x squared is what?
7x and 1.
7x and x. So 3 and 2. Somebody want to tell me where the 3 and the 2 goes?
The 3 goes on the left and 2 goes on
Let's try and see if she's right. 3 and 2. How much is that? 14, and that's? How am I going to make 11 with 14 and 3? Subtract. So I want the,
negative 3 and positive 2.
check that, see if that's right.
Negative 2 and positive 3, because if you're multiplying 7 times 2.
Right here, right? You see why, though? A lot of kids say because the larger number you want negative. 3 is bigger than 2, but the product is what you're interested in. Do you hear me?
Yeah. But if it's, but then
Look at that now and double check.
it's negative.
Right. See what I'm saying? That's 3x, and that's negative 14x, which makes that negative 11x. All right. Yep. Here we go. So 26, factoring by grouping again. All right, so here we got to be careful.
X squared, X
So that's x squared,
and then X minus 4.
x minus 4. Now, so you remember the leading coefficient is negative. Here's why I need you to put a star by this one. So you're factoring out a negative what? 1. Factoring out a negative 1. And so this becomes, when you factor out a negative, it becomes x minus 4. Okay, 26 is the good one. So now you factor out the x minus 4, and now you're left with what?
X minus 4 and X squared.
So now what's the problem?
It's that X squared.
The x squared minus 1, this is the time where it can factor, because those are both perfect squares. So now you're going to write this as x minus 4, x plus 1, x minus 1.
Mr. Stroud,
I'm listening.
how did you get up at the top negative 1 and then X minus 4?
Because remember, when you factor out a negative, please listen, this is a very important point. When you factor out a negative, you change the signs. That was a negative, now it's a what? This was a positive, now it's a what?
Oh, because you couldn't put negative x in the
That's right. They have to be exactly the same.
Oh.
All right. 28 is another good one. I'm waiting. All right. What's common?
5.
5. And then what else?
Positive w.
All right. So 5. I'm left with x minus y, positive w.
X minus y.
So that factors into
X minus y and 5 plus w.
Yep, there you have it. Easy? Everybody? Feel good about it. 30, very good problem. What do we got here, guys?
X squared.
X squared,
Negative 4.
positive 4, and negative 4. And so now what happens? You have to factor which one, though?
The negative one. Oh, because negative.
Because it's negative. You can't factor the one that's positive. All right, so here we go. X squared plus 4, x plus 2, x minus 2. Yes, ma'am.
Wait, why can't you factor?
Okay, because you want the middle term to be 0, right? In order to be 0, one has to be positive, one has to be, you with me now, right? And so if one's positive, one's negative, there's no way to make a positive, right?
Can you just do negative?
Well, then that wouldn't be 0. True, because you'd be adding 2 negatives. It is, that's what I'm saying. You've got to make that connection or it doesn't make sense. Yeah. All right, here we go. 30, 32. Here we go. Yep, pull out the x, please. X squared plus x minus 2, beautiful. Right? 1 and what?
1 and 2.
And then we want the 2 to be, and the 1 to be, yes. All right, I need everybody's attention on, no, you're wrong. It's the other way, right? Positive 2 and negative 1. I know I shouldn't have listened to you. All right, please, everybody put a little star by 34. 34 is a tricky one. Very tricky. Okay? So here we go. All right? 2 sets of parentheses. X squared, x squared. Now, what are the factors of 25 that make, or the factors of 100 that make 29? 25 and 4. That's exactly right. So it's going to be minus 25 and minus 4. Everybody agree with that? Now, that's right. These both can factor. So that's going to be x plus 5, x minus 5, x plus 2, and x minus 2. And like I said, listen to me, guys. If you can do number 34, really and truly, I think you're ready. You get 100 on the test. All right? You can do that. Okay? All right, let's take a look at 36. What's common here?
X cubed.
Common x cubed. All right, that's probably for you, Madeline, right? Mommy ball, sure.
Joy. I don't do last name. That's last name.
Hello. Mommy brought your eye.
Aww.
She's so sweet.
Yay, Joy.
Joy. Tell Joy we said hello.
Tell
All right.
Joy I said hi.
Here we go. All right. Now, on this one, we're factoring out an x cubed. When we factor out the x cubed, we're left with?
Y squared plus 14y plus 46.
There we go.
Then it's 3x and then y plus 7 and then y plus 7.
That's true. So x cubed, y plus 7 squared. All right. Any questions? Anybody have any issues?
No.
Okay, here we go. 38. Okay. Now this one, yes. So listen to me. I need you to little star by 38.
In the wrong order.
Right, it's in the wrong order. Now listen to me. Highlight again, please, and make yourself a note. F minus D and D minus F. So all you do is factor out a negative, and that changes the signs. When you factor out a negative, the minus becomes a what?
Positive.
Positive. All right, so here we go. Z, F minus D plus Y times F minus D. All right, when you factor out a negative, the signs change. Now look at that. That one's hard for kids.
Wait, you switch the signs.
Would it be F plus D? Now listen to me right now. The sign here is a what?
Positive.
Positive. Do you agree?
Yes.
Do you hear me? Well,
Oh, you did switch it.
so when you factor out a negative, you change the sign.
So if it's
positive, it has to switch.
So this D is positive, so now the D is what? You hear me now? This F right here is what? Negative. Now it's what? Now it's positive.
Or you can just know that.
Hold up. Will, did you understand that now? All right.
Or rather than doing all that, you can just know that they're both the same.
Look, that's what I'm trying to tell you. If they're not the same, you can't factor it, so you have to make them the same. To make them the same, you factor out a negative. That's what you're supposed to know. That's why I'm saying put a star by number 38 and redo it tonight. Look it over. Guaranteed it's on the test. All right? So your final answer is?
F minus D and Z plus Y.
Yeah, F minus D times Z plus Y. Beautiful. All right, here we go. Now, again, factor by grouping. Good job. Then you're factoring out a negative 5.
That's the X plus Y.
X plus what?
2. Or plus 2. That's what I have on my paper.
Yeah, we believe you. All right, final answer.
X plus 2 and X squared minus 5.
Now, can you factor X squared minus 5?
No, because 5 is not a perfect
That's
square.
right. 5 is not a perfect square, so you have to leave it alone. Shh, 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 shh.
I like
Okay,
it when we don't have to
now on 42, is there a GCF?
No.
No, so it's just normal factoring. All right, which is kind of annoying because there's a lot of possibilities here. So 6x squared, we're going to start with
6X.
3x and
3X.
2x. Now for 6, what are the middle factors? Connor, come on, please.
3 and 2.
3 and... Sometimes 3 times 2 is 12, but today 3 times 4 is 12. So the factors of 12, 3 and 4. Now, where does the 4 have to go? On the left. So let's put 4 here and 3 here and see what we have. How much is this?
8.
How much is this? Which will make
17.
if they're both.
Positive.
There we go, guys. All right, number 44, same principle. 44. All right, for question number 44, again, is there a GCF?
No.
No, so now we're in good shape.
5X and X.
5x and what?
X. Kidding, 2X.
5x and 2x. Now, where's the 2 going to go?
On the left.
On the left, and 1 has to go on the right.
2 is negative.
Uh-oh. 4x and 5x is not going to
You
work.
have to have
They
both
don't make
negative.
So that means that
So that means instead of 5x and 2x, we have to do
it's 10x and x.
10x and x.
Jeez, Caroline.
Stop now. 10x and x. Uh-oh. So now I have the 2 has to go here, and so that does not work, right? So this, what is this called? Prime. Doesn't factor its prime.
Well, we spent like 20 minutes on that problem.
All right.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Yeah, be careful, okay?
Right.
That's why I'm saying there's an order to how you go through. There's an order how you go through and double check things. All right, please put a star by number 44 and relook at that. 15x squared plus x minus 6. What do we got?
It's
There is no GCF.
No GCF, so we're going with
X
5x and 3x.
5x and 3x, and this time
2 has to go on the. Oh wait, no. 3 has to go on the left.
3 goes on the left,
And
2 goes on the right,
So 9
and 10.
and 10, which could make 1.
Aren't they both
All right.
negative.
No,
No,
no, no,
Oh,
no.
the 3 is negative.
No, the 2 is positive and the 3 is negative.
Wait, why? What? Why aren't they both negative?
Remember, if they're both negative, you're going to add them. That'd be
you're
negative
multiplying.
9, right?
Yes.
Hey, I'm trying to get through, okay? I don't want to be interrupted by you.
If it's 15x squared, and how come you can do 5 and 3? That would be x. Oh no, I'm stupid.
All right, here we go. So now on 48, what do we got?
3.
Factor out of, uh-oh. Now on this, please go through and do me a favor. Change the A to a what?
X.
Yeah, just change the A to an X.
We do it, you bet.
We also.
All right, here we go. All right, now factor out the 3.
3x.
So now we have x squared,
plus 12x
right?
plus.
Now, are there any factors of 10 that can make 12?
No.
No, so that's your answer.
Oh,
All right, you can just factor out the GCF. You can just factor out the GCF. For 48, for 48, what do you want? Come on, I want to help. You're just saying things
Oh,
now.
because we make 13.
All right, here we go. Now for 51, is there anything common?
Nope.
No.
No.
X and X.
And now 63 that make
9
2.
and 7.
9 and 7. So don't forget it's a 9y and a 7y. And so we want the 9 to be negative and a positive. All right. 52 should be pretty easy for you now. So this is just what?
X minus 3 and X plus 1.
All right. $54 should be pretty easy.
X plus 3 and F plus.
I like these ones. These
Good.
ones just don't require like.
Okay, 56. Go
Oh,
ahead.
it's wrong order. You gotta switch the signs.
Hey.
For number 52, do you just write the all like that?
There was a common x plus 9, so we pulled it out. And x minus 3 was left. Okay, so here we go on this now. Remember,
Is it positive?
pulling out a negative, so that becomes a positive.
Yes.
And then the
it's
f
X
becomes
minus
negative and the x becomes positive.
X minus F.
So there we have 3x times x minus f. I'm just going to rewrite it. Plus 2 times x minus f.
So the final answer
Hold up a minute. All right, so now the final answer is
is x minus f and 3x plus 2.
perfect. All right, now for 58, what's common?
4.
4,
4 and 9. 4.
right? So then it becomes x squared.
That's it.
And now can I factor x squared minus 9?
Yes.
Yes. Into what?
X minus 3 plus.
X minus 3 and x plus 3. Perfect. Okay, 60 now. Come on, guys. This one's the tricky one.
There's no GC.
No GCF, so it's going to be
Just
X
x squared.
x squared, x squared.
And 3 and 3.
Nope.
Oh wait, 9 and 1. 9 and 1.
Minus 9
Plus
and minus
minus
1. And now the minus 9 and the minus 1, they can now factor. So that's going to be,
X and X.
yep,
And then plus 3.
good. And then,
Plus.
yeah, very good. There you have it. Nothing difficult. And finally, 62, what's common? Y squared, parentheses.
X squared minus X squared.
There you go.
Can't you still factor?
And now that factors to now do me a favor. On the last page there, I really don't even care if you delete the page.
Oh, yeah. Was it 40?
All right. The only thing I'm asking you to do is make sure that you know how to do all 62 of these problems. All right. You just tap on it, and then it goes delete page. There you go. And then if you accidentally delete a page, you can go back, and it'll automatically pop it back up. But if you go out and then go back in, it's automatically stayed out. Okay, listen, no talking, none. All right, your job right now is to review. Pull up the problems that you starred and look at them over. Erase them. Or you can duplicate the page and start doing them over. Does everybody hear me? All right. Get to work, get to work, get to work. No talking.